Expeditions podcast. Hey everyone out there, what is happening in your part of the world? Welcome back. This, of course, is the Inner Expeditions podcast. My name is Aaron Harvey. Welcome back to the show if you're joining us again. And if you haven't joined us before and this is your first listen, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on board. Super excited to share this one with you. This is actually episode 20 for me, and I'm going to celebrate that by inviting a special guest on, and also I'm going to be changing to episode numbers from here into the future instead of seasons and episodes. So welcome to episode 20. Great to have you on board. Show's been going for just over a year now, so thanks to everyone for tuning in and everyone for your support and your help in making everything happen and to give me the encouragement to keep going. It's all really much appreciated. But listen, we're going to get onto the show. And joining me tonight is a friend, a super inspiring guy. He's got a great energy and a motivation and drive about him, which is really infectious when you're hanging around and just being involved in whatever he's doing. So Dave Ebbott is a friend. I've been friends with Dave for a few years. When I met Dave, he was working as like a roofing plumber, full-time tradesman. And then he kind of crossed over and just got lit with inspiration to do videography and into wedding videoing. And then in the most probably recent year, he's sort of started morphing into and doing what he really loves, which is actually surf videography and photography. So we're going to talk about the inspiration that sort of dragged his attention into what made him want to start videoing and doing photography, into doing weddings, and then obviously moving on from that and to do now what he really loves and his true passion, which is the ocean, being in, around and on the ocean, and his general love for that. And now how awesome it is that he is doing what he loves for a job and a profession. It's a really cool story. We kind of delve into everything that sort of came about in Dave realizing that he had more to give in his life than to just rock up on the daily and do his trade, and how he's managed to turn that around and really fill his cup, and the real good advantages and pluses that it has given him as a person, which then of course he passes on to his wife and his family as well. So super stoked to have him on and share this one with you. Let's check it out and take a listen. So the prompt's done and we are good. It's recording. I've got time and we are good to know that we're recording, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, look, thanks for joining me again. We were just kind of talking, even after yesterday's little technical issue with trying to get the episode away. We were talking about how you actually helped me kind of get my first episode recorded and down with, well, not my first, but the pilot episode once my gear arrived and you were kind of here. And
that was good fun.
yeah, we had a chat. I had no idea what I was doing, but the mics were there and you were good enough to sort of sit with me then as well and help me sort of work out how to go about it.
How long has it been since then?
It's been just over a year. Yeah, I think I released my
Wow.
first episode on the 25th of September last year.
Wow, that's gone fast.
It has, yeah, and this is the 20th episode, so I thought it'd be a perfect way to cap it off by having you on. So
awesome, mate. Happy to be here.
it's good, yeah. Hopefully we can recap on what we touched on that sort of first pilot, and then last night when we were trying to get into it as well. So
Yep, no worries, mate.
How have you been? Like, I know we sort of spoke yesterday, but how's everything been in general with you and life and your family guy now and work and all of the mix, but you good?
Yeah, I've been really good, mate. I feel like so many things are happening, and not in a busy way, but in like a really productive way. Yeah, I feel like there's a new direction in my life, and I'm just frothing and just moving away from the weddings a little bit and focusing more on family time and what's really important to us at the moment, which is kind of, we also homeschooling. So we're learning a lot about the land and, how the world really works. And I think it's been so amazing teaching the kids about all that, and then getting their hands dirty in the veggie garden and showing them what it takes to kind of, get through life and what you need to know. And yeah, it's just been awesome. It just froths me out so much waking up when I see all the little jobs we've been doing around the house and the garden growing every day. It's just the best feeling, Love it.
It is good when you can see the kids watching stuff grow. I think, like you plant
Yep.
stuff together and you water it, and then they start to see the sprouts come up and it growing into food. It sort of blows their little minds for the first time, and they love it. Hey, it's so rad.
Yeah, it just shows them that it just gives them the connection because I mean, most of us, all of us really, you still buy a lot from the shops and you go in and you buy it from the shops and you bring it home and you cook it and eat it or whatever. But it's like, it is so amazing to be able to walk out, grab a handful of greens just 10 meters away and then whack them in a bowl and put some lemon and oil, like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever for
And
sure.
then, so with the homeschooling side, you're getting out and like field excursions and
Yeah.
being outdoors and kind of connecting not only with the kids, but you're all kind of connecting with the outdoors as well, right?
So it's not only the kids learning, it's like we're also connecting as a family as well, and
Yeah.
I yeah, I think the best, I mean, I wish I was brought up like that, but I mean, what better teacher than nature and the environment around you, it's mind blowing. And Ellen and I have learned so much as well, because so many people, so many older people have said to me, school comes at the wrong time, like you're forced through school and you're only retaining information long enough to pass a test. But when you're actually excited to learn something, you retain it, and it takes you on all these different journeys, and it's amazing. So we're kind of leading the homeschool in a nature based learning like direction, and it's just been amazing. It's opening everyone up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's frothy, man. It's awesome.
As well as having time together. I've noticed
Yeah,
when we go for walks with the kids and we're only just up the end of our street, we can kind of hit the bush and we've got
yeah,
wildflowers just really blooming this year. It's been, we've had quite a wet year for us up here and everything's just totally flourishing. So going for a walk with the kids and looking at wildflowers and all the animals, I mean, I kind of notice if I stop and check out something that blows me away, they really sort of take notice. Where if I'm there trying to show them something that's awesome, if I'm
yeah,
trying to tell them, they're like, "Yeah, okay, Dad, whatever."
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
if they can see I'm actually, really blown away by something, they'll come over and drop what they're doing. Is, "Oh, what are you looking at, Dad? Like, what have you got there?" And then you just see them
Yeah.
completely taken on board as well. It's pretty
I
cool.
get. I guess that's like leading by example and showing them what what actually really means a lot to you. And
Yeah,
recently, I organised a beach cleanup through Instagram, and I got like 35 people down. Um, and that to me alone was amazing. But to show all these people, because it's not, for instance, it's not about the big bits of rubbish on the beach; it's about the small bits. And if you're walking the beach every day and you focus on walking and whatever you're thinking and all that, you kind of don't notice it. But as soon as you start dragging the seaweed away, you notice all this.
it's
It's like the
there.
microplastics, and it looks like shells with at first glance. And to have the kids along with that as well is just blowing their minds as well. So I feel like if we all had that education when we were younger, it might have been a different world by now, And it's so good to just be raising that awareness, not only for the community but for the kids as well.
Yeah,
It's
like so
awesome.
early on for the next generation kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
because these guys could be the ones that make the change. I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, they kind of
Yeah,
have to really. I
yeah,
mean, so but
yeah,
it seems like they're getting it. Like I'm super impressed with the next generations coming through and how aware they are of what's happening and that it needs to change, and they're really taking it on board. Like they know that they're going to be left with what our generation, the generations before, are kind of leaving them with. So I think they're really taking it seriously and doing something about it. It's pretty impressive.
yeah. And they say that your dollar, you vote with your dollar. So if you're
Yeah,
supporting these these companies that are doing the right thing, like the 1% for the planet, and they're actually like doing repackaging properly, and all these companies, we start supporting them, then it forces other industries to change, because otherwise they'll go out of business. And I think that's definitely happening quite a lot these days. And like you said, man, it is changing for sure.
Yeah, if you
And
create that
every
market,
yeah,
companies are going to sit up and go, well, there is a market there, and we're going to start accommodating for that because there's money to be made if that's what people want.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, cool, bro. I mean, on the other side of things, work's good. Your wedding videographer sort of career is, I mean, you're right amongst it with that now. And I guess down there where you are, it's wedding season's kind of just taking off for work as well. So you're getting busy.
Yeah, I've shot a couple of. Well, I think a couple of weeks ago I shot 4 times in 5 days. That was a good little
That's
getting
hectic.
back into it period. But yeah, so this is going to be my last wedding season. I'm just going to taper it right back to follow like a new direction with my filmmaking and my passion, which I'm super excited about. Yeah, I guess it's just combining my wild love for the ocean and yeah, trying to inspire people through that, and just hang out with some really cool crew in some wild ocean conditions. And yeah, it's pretty much a dream come true, really.
It's looking good. I mean, I've seen what you're doing already on your socials and the surf and the
Thanks, mate.
conditions you're putting yourself out in, man. It's some big surf out there, and it's epic conditions of some dudes surfing some big waves down there in that part of the world.
Yeah, I love it. I just feel so at home in those conditions, and you just feel so alive. And yeah, and what you need your body, where you need your body to be in those conditions as well, is a huge motivator as for me as well. Like I want to be as fit as I possibly can, and I want to be ready for anything. And yeah, this is just where my heart's at, and I just couldn't be more frothed out about the new direction.
Yeah, I totally hear you because you've got to kind of go where your passion's at, I guess. And like kudos to you from coming from, when I first met you, you were sort of roof plumbing, you got into videography and then into weddings. And I remember clearly like you had this talent and you were blowing people away even just with sort of mini videoettes that you were doing and
Thanks,
posting. And
mate.
then you kind of went down that path of weddings. It's epic. And you've clearly got the talent and the eye for to start a different career altogether, which is epic, and then to go on to now actually turning that into fully chasing your dreams and what really drives you. It's good to see, man. Like how did that even sort of come about in your head to go, okay, I'm going to go from a roof plumber to starting to make videos? Obviously, not an overnight thing, but you kind of just
Yeah, for
really turned it
sure.
around.
Well, an old friend, Ray, was just an amazing wedding photographer, and I kind of had a crack at shooting a couple of videos that she was already shooting, and just from the word go, like the energy of a wedding is just, it's almost addictive, and it's non-stop when you're there, and it's like you're so focused and you're just writing the emotions of everyone throughout the day, let alone the bride and groom, and then to create something that kind of has, that is just also energy, like jam packed with energy, and that the couple loves, and is just the best thing ever. Like every single thing I do, I just try and pump as much energy into it as possible. So every single second of a wedding film, for me, it's meant to be there. There's no fillers, and it's just to take the viewer along on this journey. So yeah, it's been such a buzz. I mean, this is the sixth wedding season I'm in now, and yeah, to think that I came from roofing is, yeah, it's a huge jump. And I think I did the transition over about 3.5 years, just kind of cutting down the roofing and adding more of the weddings in. And And yeah, when I was roofing, I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, and I enjoyed being really physical with my body, and running your own business. There's so much involved, but I felt like I had a lot more to give, like artistically and my personality, because let's be honest, there's only so many roofs you can do that are slightly different, and then the gutters and the downpipes. You can't really throw your personality into those.
Yeah.
um, and I guess my hobby was just being in the ocean, and that's what kind of just kept me going through those years. So to think that I've gone from that into wedding films, and now I've come full circle at the end back to the ocean, which is still inspiring me so much. The ocean and my family are where my heart is at, and it's just insane. It's just never ending inspiration. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to take the storytelling practice that I've had, creating wedding films, and then somehow take that into the ocean and tell the stories of some good friends that are big wave surfers, and the journeys that they go on, and their lives that they live, and the type of people they are, and kind of take that storytelling and put it into something that I can make relatable to an audience. Is Yeah, that's my next challenge, and I'm just really excited to see where that goes. Yeah, man, the world's out there to be taken advantage of. You better
Yeah, and
get out there
it's
and
like you
do it.
say, it's capturing that energy. Uh, Inspiration kind of leads to that creative avenue, and you can kind of tie that in with your passion. It's always going to work, and even doing the wedding side of things is almost like a great precursor, and I guess apprenticeship to lead to what you're doing, because
Yeah, for sure.
you're doing that storytelling side of it, and then you're adding that to what you're really passionate about, and these guys' lives and how they go about it. I remember we were sort of talking last night, and you're like, you don't just want to film what they're doing; you want to sort of capture the essence of the situation,
Yeah,
what
for
leads up
sure.
to it, and that whole thing, which is it's super exciting.
Yeah, and their attitude towards life, um, the way that they see everything is just, yeah, it's their stories are worth telling, and like I was saying last night, most surf films, even kind of half documentary ones, are just a lot of pretty shots followed by the surfing. And to me, you're missing so much that it's like they haven't quite translated what it feels like to be there. And that's where I want it. That's going to be my challenge now that I've given myself. I want to be able to try and figure out that part of it, and then embed it into something that just grabs people. Like, yeah, it's like I was saying last night. Also, when you're out there sitting on the ski or in the water in massive conditions, it's really hard to kind of come back to normal life and, for instance, walk down the street and get a cup of coffee. Like when the day before you're in, the wildest conditions, and the sound and the temperature of the air, like everything that was going on. Um, yeah, I just want to be able to share that with people. I think that's, yeah, it's pretty undescribable sometimes.
Yeah, totally. It's rad, man. Just the way you're following that up. You just got that drive to then follow through and to continue on with this. And there's also, I'd imagine, a pretty decent fear factor out there because it's big. You've got to know what you're doing, and or you're obviously with guys who know what they're doing, so there would be the comfort in that. But you're
Yeah,
pretty exposed. So even knowing where you need to be to get the shot, knowing what's around you, I mean, there'd be a hyper awareness that would be pretty hard to wash off, even like a day or two afterwards, just of the adrenaline running, right?
yeah, for sure. It's almost like a full blown come down
Yeah,
afterwards, because, like you said, you've got to be so hyper aware, and it's like your nervous system is in that zone where you have to be taking in every single thing around you, as well as shooting, as well as the positioning. So yeah, and also, like you said, the people that we're out with are probably some of the best watermen in Australia. You know, they've been in some really hectic situations, and I'm lucky. You know, I'm kind of just shooting, but those guys are going down in some pretty hectic spots. And yeah, just the team of guys, like the group of guys that are always down there, and it varies from time to time who can't make it or whatever, but they're all so sharp and they're all so amazing in the water that you feel really kind of safe if anything does kind of happen.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, they're watermen. You know, these guys aren't just they're not just surfers. They're probably free divers. They train in the ocean. You're in open water. There's a lot of water moving around. It's different being off the shore.
Yeah.
Large amounts of current drifting around. Like these guys have got to read that stuff and kind of read the play. You know, they're all round experienced people. You know, men of the water. It's a totally different game, right?
Oh, it's a totally different game. It's the difference between being out in the ocean when it's 4 to 6 foot versus 8 to 20 foot is just a whole new ball game, and I'm so new to it, and it's the most exciting thing ever. Um, I have a long way to go with my ability shooting water and every single aspect of it, but it's just so driving, and it's like it's so addictive that every time you go out there, that hyper awareness, like you're learning turbo speed, you know, and it's yeah, I'm just kind of like shaking thinking about it. Just can't wait to get back down there.
And there's processes too because you're planning to hit places at the right time. You're looking at
Yep,
swell. You're prepping the gear. You're making sure that you've
yep.
got all of the safety gear in place. I mean, that would be a whole process and in itself. So it's different to grabbing the boards or the camera and running down the
Yep.
beach when it's good. There's a whole process to take into account, right? So it's the
Oh,
planning and everything.
for sure. And at the start, I was like super eager, and it's like as you can probably imagine, I just wanted to be out there, right then and there. And now every time I go, I realize that I just need to just take it a little bit slower, just be having everything so dialed in, um, and just keep calm through the whole process. And it's like, yeah, so it's like you're trying to keep calm, and then whilst there's so many different variables that you can't control, and you just kind of just need to know your variables and get them as dialed in as you can. And yeah, I mean, when the boys call a swell that's like a week out, everyone's kind of like on edge a little bit, and then like they're like, no, we can't call it unless it's 3 days out. So then you're kind of like watching the swell and watching the conditions, and like, yeah, it's such a rush. It's been such a fun journey, and yeah, I'm making some pretty good friends out of it, and yeah, it's just wild. It's the place to be.
Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about it you've got the build up from, maybe like a week out. So if you're looking at from a week out and it's building, and then you get to
Yep,
that kind of 3 days out and it's building again. So you're getting pretty excited by this stage and you look like you're going to give it the green light. Then it
yep,
happens, and then you've got to keep kind of a lid on it while you get everything ready so you're not missing anything.
yep,
But then I'm sure once you're out there, I mean, you're in that zone, you're super aware of your surroundings. It's pumping, it's all happening, but there would be that window where you're doing your job and it would be just so heightened of I mean, in the present, in the moment, like that must be one of the strongest times you would ever feel like totally focused. I mean, you're filming, let alone the guys that are out there surfing, hey?
yeah, exactly. So like the lead up, you're kind of walking around in circles, just walking around the house, walking around the ski, making sure everything's done. And then when you're on the way out in the ski, you're like kind of like, what's it going to be like? What's it going to be like? And then you get out there, and it's almost like you're speechless, and you just want to piss yourself laughing the whole time because it's like unfathomable what you're witnessing. You know, like you just feel everyone just feels like a little kid. You know, there's just laughter, there's like hooting. It's the wildest environment. It's so much fun. Yeah. Yes. Super hyper aware.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, like nervous laughter and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff as well, like kind of like the unknown as well, right? I suppose, yeah. So,
Astonishment as to what's
yeah,
actually going down in front of your face.
yeah. And like amongst all of that, there would be levels of of fitness required as well? I mean, you've always trained really well the whole time I've known you, just in general, just to be a fit, healthy, functioning tradesman, surfer, free diver, like the waterman even that you are as well. How has that changed now that you are? I mean, I remember speaking to you like a year ago, and you were sort of prepping yourself to get ready to start embarking on this sort of surf filming journey. How has that sort of changed or revved up or amped up since even like kind of what you were doing before?
Yeah, I guess I'm doing a lot of body weight stuff, like really hammering that kind of aspect of it, and lots of high intensity cardio as well, lots of running and lots of sprints, and yeah, lots of work in the water as well, like CO2 training. So you're just pushing yourself as hard as you can, and then going down on like no breaths, just to train yourself to. So when you are in a really shitty situation and you get the shit kicked out of you, like you're comfortable. You know how to read your body a lot better, and it's so different to free diving. And I'm such a novice at both of them, really. But
Yeah.
it gets really dangerous when you're free diving because you're going down on one breath, and then you get more euphoric as you run out of breath. With the CO2 training, you have no breath, and you go down, and it's like you're just like you're just reading your body signals that are already which are already going crazy. And then, yeah, there's a guy called Joe Knight who runs this insane watermanship program down here, and I did a couple of days with him, and just the knowledge I that got in the couple of days was a game changer. Basically, he just teaches you how to fill your lungs with oxygen really, really quickly before another wave comes. Bang! Then you go down, you come up, and you might have 2 to 3 seconds. How do you fill your whole lungs with oxygen, and then go down again? Um, yeah. So that has been huge for me. I guess that's the direction of training that I've gone in, and plus I'm trying to surf as much as I can as well, just to keep the paddle fitness up, which is huge. But I guess when you're swimming in the ocean and you've got a camera, I think my camera weighs about 5 kilos, and it is just positively buoyant. Um, but you can't paddle with your arms, so it's like you've got the camera locked to your chest when you're trying to get through a wave, and you've got one arm, which is almost just like a rudder. It kind of just sends you in the right direction almost, and then your legs are doing the rest. So it's like your legs are constantly just on, especially when you're stuck in a rip, or like not even stuck in a rip, but the last wave down south, we shot was called Ron's, and you're constantly swimming away from it. So it's like my legs were on fire. Well, my legs were like on for about 5 hours that day, just constant. And I guess that's the kind of fitness that I've been really looking for, because in the past I've had pretty skinny legs.
It's just like, yeah, it's strength and
Yeah,
endurance kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
And I know a lot of the guys wear the fins. Do you wear like the short bodyboard fins or something like that when you're out there just for that bit of extra help?
yeah, short bodyboard fins. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like for the short, sharp kind of propulsion you need in those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm so new to it, and it's just been such a fun little zone to just dive headfirst into.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the way to go about it, I guess, because I mean, when you started thinking about changing that direction, sort of having that spark to initially go, well, I might have a go at this. And then when did it change? Okay, I'm doing this, rather than sort of thinking about it and maybe overanalyzing it and maybe never doing it. How did you make that change to go, okay, this is what I want to do and I'm going to follow up on it?
Um, I guess me and the wife had a couple of conversations about, where do we want to go, and what's the next chapter, and what do we actually want to do with our lives. And for me to be able to go in a direction that really makes me truly happy, um, was essentially a no-brainer. I'm not expecting to make a lot of money. I'm not expecting it to be easy. Um, but I think doing a full wedding season is there's just so much work involved when, when you've got little kids growing up, like, and they're changing every day, and you kind of just don't want to miss a thing. So I guess that's the original part of me slowing down on the weddings. The second part is like, what do I really want to do with my life? And so those two kind of combined it, and yeah, here I am. I mean, I'm learning every time I hit the water. My direction slightly changes every time I do a shoot, and I mean, I've shot a little bit of surf for a couple of companies now, which has been really fun, like great learning experience, and a little bit of it's come out in a little film lately, which has been really cool to have some of your footage on a proper surf film. But yeah, I just want to keep doing what I feel is right for me and my family, and just see where that takes me.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like, it's relative on how you view success. I think when you're doing something that is fueling your fire, like it's filling your cup,
Yep,
you're getting by. You're obviously with your level of where you're happy with your family work balance, spending time with your family. It's taken the pressure off because it's not as busy as the wedding stuff.
yep,
You're doing what you love, and it's freeing up time with your kids. I mean, that's pretty successful. If you're looking, you're not looking for a huge monetary value. You're not pushing it yourself harder to make more money, and you're like, okay, I'm happy exactly where I'm at,
yep.
and you got plenty of quality time with your family. You're loving your work. You're doing something you love. I mean, that's success right there, right? I mean, you can't wish for more than that.
Yeah, that is success, and and you guys live in paradise up there, and we live in paradise down here, and when I was roofing, I came from a family that didn't have a lot of money, so I wanted to prove that I could make money, and all that happened was I was working 6 days a week. I was drinking too many beers in the afternoon. I had a shed full of brand new boards and all this stuff that I had no time to use. And then you get to the point where you're like, what am I doing? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So then going from that to filming weddings was like, wow, people are actually paying me to create something that I have so much fun creating, and it's just the wedding industry is epic. I've met so many amazing people, and I would do wedding films for free, if I had the time and I didn't need the money, because I love it. I love creating stories. Even today, I was putting the audio together from speeches and stuff. It was quite an emotional wedding, and I was just writing the waves of the audio. There's no visual there whatsoever, and I'm just like, oh god, in tears and then laughing. It's like, and I fully love it. Like
Yeah,
this, I'm gonna miss it for sure. I just feel like it's time to head in another direction for sure.
yeah. I mean, my wife Renee is a wedding photographer, and she does sort of family shoots and personal shoots more for people. She has
Yep,
clients and that they book her to take photos of them. It's great what she does. She empowers people. She makes people feel amazing through what she does. Wedding photography and videography is no different because what you're essentially doing is giving those people a feeling. Like you're capturing that moment and you're
yep,
making them feel great,
yep,
which is an art
100%.
in itself. There's so much emotion attached to wedding photography and all of that that side of things. Where now you're changing more. The person getting the feeling out of it is yourself, and you're fueling that for you,
Yep,
making your career out of it, and changing career is just such a great thing, man. Like to realize that when you were doing your trade, I mean, you could have got by like that and seen out, your working career and done that for however long, but to have that realization that you had something more to offer, for one, and then two, to go, okay, I'm actually going to have a crack at this instead of just thinking about it and never acting on it. I mean,
yep.
kudos to you, bro. That's so epic.
Oh man, likewise for you when you quit that work ages ago to spend more time with your family,
Yeah.
And like I was saying last night, a dream, a lot of people see a dream as a dream and it's unachievable because the dream is too big. So what you don't realize is that anything's possible. I mean, within reason. I'm probably not going to go to the moon anytime soon,
Yeah, but
but
you can break it down into smaller sections. You don't have to tackle the
exactly,
whole thing from the start. It's like even if you don't know
exactly,
how to start, just start.
yeah. And it's the baby steps every day, the
Yeah,
consistent, even if it's every couple of days or every week. Like you've got a job now, you don't like it, happy days, but it's still
yeah,
bringing in money. So why not put in little baby steps to get to your new career, to get to your dream job? And it's so doable. And everyone that I speak to who feels so trapped in their job and they hate it and they need the money, I'm like, of course, we all need money. That's the world we live in. We're not all just
yeah,
going to cruise down and build a little shack on the beach and, live for free. It just doesn't work like that. But
yeah. That's
it
not.
is
Yeah,
so possible to, at least get to a better place.
yeah. To bend
Yeah.
your reality in your favor. Um, Success, success is different for different people. Like I speak to people, and so what's your idea of success? And they immediately say, making X amount of money or whatever, or having a certain type of house where you're putting that pressure on yourself to maybe do a job that you don't love. It's just the fact that you're doing it to pump the dollars into a dream. And look, and if that makes you happy and you have value out of that, then that's great. But if deep down inside you feel like you're going to die wondering, I mean, it's
Yeah.
such a shame to waste that.
Yeah. And the die wondering thing was a huge wake up call for me when my mum passed away nearly 9 years ago. This December actually, was that she had so much more life to live and she died working her fingers to the bone, and it meant nothing. It didn't, there was no legacy. She just had a dry cleaners, and I was like, what is the point? What is the point of working your fingers to the bone when you still have more to give and you want to do all these other things? Um, you know, and like you said, you're going to die wondering, why
Yeah,
not just at least have a crazy passion or a crazy hobby and just go after it, use your normal job to just pay for whatever you need to pay for, but just follow your passion and your heart, because no one else is going to do it for you.
yeah,
And that's, as soon as you realize that, like, no one's going to give you what you want out of your life. You have to take it and you have to make it. You have to work hard.
yeah. Make it your own. And I think when you do that, you're putting your passion and you're putting your heart and soul into something, and it's coming from a good place. It's coming from a
Yeah,
place that's real and sincere.
yeah,
People are going to get that out of it. You're going to start affecting people with
yeah,
your art, with whatever you're creating. If it's from the right place and it's 100%, um, not false and true, then
authentic, eh?
yeah, authentic. I mean, it's just going to be
Yeah,
so hard to not be impacted by that, and that's where that creativity and inspired side comes out, and it's a powerful thing. It's more than a video; it's an experience, and I mean, you're already channeling that already, and you're down that path, and that's got your drive. So it's hard for it to go wrong. I mean, like you know,
imagine the beauty in the world. Imagine every single person you walk past in the street, what they have deep down to give. Not only to give, but to express, and to show you their art
mm-hmm.
and their perspective, and then, it's, yeah, everyone I come in contact with, I just want to remind them, you're never stuck. You're never
Yeah,
stuck where you think you are. There's always baby steps you can take to do something more in line with what you want to do.
yeah, and I think it's like there's that level of fear of failure,
Yeah.
and what if on the other side if it doesn't work out? So that fear of failing, but if you're going to branch out and go your own way, you're not succeeding straight off the bat.
No.
The
No.
failure is where the learning is, and that's where the growth is, and that's what you're in it for. It's that process. It's yeah,
Yeah.
sure, it's great that you edit, and you make a great video. Your finished product you'd be super happy with and successful, and you celebrate that, but
Yeah.
it's the whole process
The
that's where you
journey.
learn, and that's where you grow, and that's where you fuel your soul. It's you
Yeah.
got to get over that fear and be a bit exposed, because you're going to fail 100 times before you succeed, and that's where you learn and grow.
Yeah, I've heard so many times as a filmmaker, like really good filmmakers say, if you put a personal project out and you're not kind of really kind of worried that about how it's going to be received or what people are going to think of it, you haven't tried it hard enough. You've played it too safe. So it's like you're supposed to express yourself, to just create, and take that judgment off yourself, because who needs a world of people who are exactly the same? We need to, yeah. I think with Instagram and social media and stuff, when you're trying to pump out consistent art, for instance, photos or like clips or whatever, you're constantly trying to do it. It takes away from the whole reason you should be doing it. It's not to pump out 1,000 of them. It's not to pump out work that people really like. It's to create stuff at your own pace that you know is authentic to you. Um, yeah, that's the beauty of it. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of being an individual and following your heart.
Yeah, and I totally get what you're saying, because if you're putting something out there to please algorithms and get likes, that can work, but you're less likely. I mean, you're going to get anxiety if you don't get the likes you think you should get. But also on the
For
other
sure,
side,
man.
if you're super creative and you're putting your heart and soul into something to create, you kind of feel like you're exposing yourself. And then if people aren't liking your
Yeah,
work, then they're not liking you. So you can't,
yeah,
it's hard not to take that personally either, but you're never going to know unless you cross that line and you give it a shot. I mean, yeah, if you never try, you're going to fail 100% of the time, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah, 100%. And like I said, you need to fail. You need to make these mistakes. And I think it's really weird with Instagram. I've actually taken, I'm about 3 days into like a little spell off Instagram just to reset my mind, because you get sucked into the trap of like you said, how many likes you're getting. Not that that makes a huge difference, but you're still in that land where you're letting other people decide what.
Your decision making, yeah.
Yeah, and you're letting other
Yeah.
people decide how good your work is by likes. I mean, how weird is that, and the
Yeah.
algorithms and stuff. It's like, well, I'm not doing this for Instagram to like me. So
You're doing it for you. And yeah,
yeah,
like exactly like you said. And I think we've even discussed it in earlier episodes that if you're doing things to get a reaction from other people, then you're living on other people's terms.
yeah,
So,
100%.
and it's really hard to be happy that way, because you're
Yeah,
just going to be out there to please people, and you're going to lose touch with, I think, who you are and how you view things, because you're doing it
yeah,
to how you think other people are going to receive it and ultimately like it. So,
yeah,
but, if you're true to yourself and what comes out is honest, open stuff, and you're not hurting people, you're
yeah,
not negative, and what you're doing is bringing people joy and it's bringing you joy. I mean, you can't go wrong.
yeah. I guess like my main aim with those social media platforms is to inspire people to get out into
Sure.
nature, just to immerse yourself and be part of it.
Hmm. And it's a
Yeah, I
helpful
guess that's
tool,
my
right? It's a super helpful
yeah,
tool for getting stuff out there. It's a free platform. You can put
exactly.
your
Yeah,
art, you can put everything on there, and you can engage with other artists, other followers. I mean, why wouldn't you use it? But at the end of the day, you got to just remember that it is a tool. It's not something to live by.
yeah. That's what the reset is happening at the moment for. It's just I need a reset to remember that. And like you said, like, I've met so many amazing people in the ocean world, and it really connects the like-minded people. You just need to I just need to
Yeah,
keep
for
track of
sure.
what I'm using it for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the opposite a little bit. Like I know some people they can put posts and stories out like while they're walking, like without even hardly thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah, for
Where,
sure.
but I'm not hugely socially active on my accounts, but I have been making a little bit more effort to put some stuff on about me and to be speaking, and it's been received well, which is nice in a way that that what you're doing is working, and when people are getting in touch, it's what you're saying, it's real and it's open, and it's people are relating to it. So it's nice for that as well on the side to go, okay, well, it's a little bit of a gauge to let me know that what I'm doing is having a positive impact on people out there.
Yeah, and what you're doing is pure inspiration, and it's you're also sharing these amazing stories from people that you've had conversations with to inspire. Your
Yeah.
podcast is purely to inspire, and I think it's amazing, and the world needs a lot more of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think it's getting there. It's all out there. And I was only thinking the other day, there's, and I think I've even heard people say it before, where there's not a lot that hasn't been said or thought up before. It's very
For
hard to
sure.
think up anything original. Like, all this information is out there, and you might hear something that resonates with you, and then you pass it on, and then
Yeah.
that sort of flow and that energy just goes from people to person through different people, and it's nice to be passing that on. And someone might have not have heard it before, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's come from me either. I'm just,
Yeah,
you're
for
almost
sure.
just a conduit, But relying on these amazing guests that I get on as well to inspire. And I mean, I get something out of every episode as well, so I'm kind of learning as well. I'm super grateful I've got this, and created it.
Yeah. Love it, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is cool. I love it, definitely. Um, So when we're talking about your surf photography and your fitness levels, being at home, I mean, that's got to be paying off as well with your family, right? Because I mean, I think we're sort of fairly similar age. We're getting sort of late 30s into our 40s. I mean, that there's kind of like a bonus out of that fit and healthy lifestyle, is that your working is making you happy, you're feeling good within yourself. I mean, that's got to rub off on the people closest to you as well, right?
Oh, 100%. And like we were saying before, when you're walking um, and looking at wildflowers, it's like everything you do, like they don't want to hear you tell them what to do, but if they
Yeah.
see you doing it, like Ellen's daughter, who's 10 now, is whipping up the wildest smoothies, and just because it's all kind of rubbing off, and the kids are just helping me cook every night because they're around so much more now, and it's just like there's so much positivity that just keeps evolving, like, and the connections get better, and yeah, and needing the fitness levels to be being so high, it's like this crazy accountability just to keep it all up. It's like it all feeds into every single aspect, and it's just been so amazing, Yeah, and
And you're fueling, you guys are kicking butt. I mean, Ellen's doing so well with her career as well. So there'd be a lot of satisfaction in the fact that, she's helping people. You're just super inspiring people in an amazing community. So feeling good within yourself, I mean, you're going to be a better version for your wife, for your kids, because your cup's full, and that's just
yeah,
going to
for
spill
sure.
over in such a positive way for everyone, rather than, if there's things that you've got going on in the back of your mind that's affecting that time, so you're not giving 100% of your attention and your effort to your family. I mean, that can sway it the other way a little bit as well. But if you know that you're good, work's good, everything's going along nicely, then when you're with your family, you're with them, and there's not all that stuff in the background going on.
100%. And I think like everyone's got stuff going on, but I think the beauty of having kids is the way that they bring you into the present, and and you can be listening to arguing, you can be listening to just the outside noise, that just you're either getting frustrated or annoyed or whatever, and as soon as you're present, it just disappears. And that's been the one of the best gifts that I've had since my baby boy was born. And and you take that presence into your relationship, and you let all the rest just kind of fall away, and you just have real conversations, and you spend real quality time. And that's just the best thing in the world for me. You the kids are the best thing ever
Yeah,
for
they
that.
are. But yeah, I mean, I was putting pressure on myself to think I needed to supply this life of traveling and being out in the wilderness, not being tied down to a mortgage and all those kinds of things. And that would be great to do one day. That's not on our agenda at the moment, because all they need right now is my time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what we're doing. If I'm there with them and my mind's not distracted and my phone's put away, we're
Yeah,
just
for
there with them
sure.
hanging out. And they just might want to tell me a story, and they want my attention. And they know
Yeah,
when you're not paying attention. They might be telling, I
yeah,
think their favorite movie at the moment is this My Little Pony movie that's new. And they're telling me all about it, They're telling me all about what's happening in the movie. And they
yeah,
want you to be engaged and to be listening. Like, they feel important
yeah,
when they know that you are connected in that moment talking to them. So you can't let
yeah.
stuff interfere with that.
It just makes the bond so much stronger, doesn't it?
It
Even just
does.
5 or 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of just actually being there
Yeah.
instead of getting caught up in needing to do this and needing the dishes done and dinner needs to be ready by this. The kids need to go to bed then.
Yeah.
It's been a huge lesson for me just to kind of pull back on that, on this structured timing and getting everything done so quickly. It's just
Yeah.
letting that loose a little bit and just finishing things when they finish, and yeah, like I said, when you're listening to them talking about the pony movie, that's all they want. And that's all you
Yeah.
need to give them. You
Yeah.
don't need $1 million. You don't need to be going trips all around the world. It's the simple things. They don't know any different.
Yeah. If you can give them your undivided time and attention whenever that's available and they want it, that's all that they could wish for. I think that they're the things that they'll always remember. From I think it keeps you close. It's terrifying thinking of them getting older and us getting disconnected, because they're going to start
Yeah,
having their friends, and they're going to be going and riding the bike around the block, and they're going to start being less at home as they get older and more independent. But you
yeah,
still want
for
to
sure.
maintain that bond, and you have to work hard to maintain that bond. I think where they're going to come to you no matter what, that they know they come and speak to you about anything as they get older. It's I think you've got to work to maintain that, not let it go.
And I think you guys are doing an insane job with that. And my parents split up, and they had a bit of a rocky time, and I didn't see my dad as much as I wanted to when I was growing up. But once I turned about 17, I think it was, we just became best mates. And still to this day, best
Yeah, it's
mates.
great. The relationship you and your dad have is so rad, man.
Yeah, so that's what I want to gift these kids. And when you think about the mechanics of it and how they're growing up, there's going to get to a point where they kind of probably don't want you there a little bit because it might be embarrassing or whatever. But
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out a way to stay, quotation marks, cool enough to
yeah,
be around them as they're growing up. At least just be there for them to come home to and just tell us the truth. Because I just want them to know that we're always here for them.
yeah,
And I think that's huge. And I think a lot of people our age didn't have that with their parents. Um, and a lot of kids their age probably don't either. But but yeah, it's just back to the bonding thing with the kids. Like, you're the safe place they can come home to and they can talk to, and you're going to be listening.
yeah. I mean,
That's
if
what
they
I'm
get
working
into
for.
trouble, if they're getting into trouble when they're older, going through stuff and working things out for themselves, if they're not on, if they have got a fear of being honest to you because they've done something they probably feel like they shouldn't have, if they can't turn to you and speak about it, then it's probably going to keep going, because
Yeah,
they're probably
for
scared
sure.
of getting reprimanded in a negative way from you, and they've got
Yeah,
no one else to turn to. So that's where they're going to go. So yeah, it's a really daunting thought, raising kids and the world we're moving into and all the distractions. There's so many more distractions out there
yeah,
now,
100%.
and that sort of thing. So it's yeah, I'm going to just try and work really hard to keep those connections really tight, for sure.
Learning every day,
Yeah,
aren't we?
that's right. You never stop.
No, it's like a mirror, kids.
It totally, yeah. When you hear them repeat stuff and you're thinking, man, there's only
Yeah,
one, it's not even what they say, it's just even how they say it, and they turn
yeah.
it back on you, and it's like, man, I must talk like that, because
They got
where
me.
else do they learn it from?
Yeah,
Especially when
for
they flip the
sure.
attitude back on you, yeah. Um,
Oh,
I mean, we're talking on parents, and there was a really big thing I wanted to talk to you about too, which is your dad, and your and your dad's relationship, but also your dad's health situation. I mean, he turned it around later on in life. I mean, tell me about that. It's an epic story, man. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so when mum passed away, dad got tested, and it turned out, I think it was a couple of days after mum passed away, he got tested. It turned out that he had really aggressive prostate cancer. Um, and all of the doctors were just telling him, you've got to get chemo straight away, otherwise you're not going to survive. And because I'd been on the health journey for so long, I know that isn't, well, I'm not speaking for everyone, and it's probably helped a lot of people, and I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but I knew an alternative way, and that was kind of healing the body with really good nutrition, and all the superfoods, and just being really strict in that way. So basically, you're starving the cancer, basically, and you're nourishing your body. So overnight, the day that Dad found out, we went to a place called Power Labs in Freo. There's a guy called John there. He cured his own cancer, with that method, of just like really high potency health foods and all that types of stuff. So we got a program from him, and overnight Dad went vegan. And within a year of having super aggressive prostate cancer, that he was told, you've got to go in and get radiotherapy, and you've got to do all this, do all that, he fully calcified the lump, and it hasn't returned. So that was 8 years ago that it had disappeared. And that's because he had to do scans all the way through to get different things in through America, like different health foods, like things like apricot kernels, which are insane for fighting cancer, but they're illegal.
Yeah,
Get
right.
apricot kernels in from America. So he needed the referral from the doctor to give to the people that let all the stuff come into the country, and it was like this full legal thing that he needs to get apricot kernels. So he had to get all these scans all the way through and all these doctor's appointments, and the last one that he got showed that it had completely disappeared, and the
Wow.
doctors didn't know what to do, and they said, we don't know what's going on here, but you should still get radiotherapy.
Wow.
So Dad walked out of that meeting just in tears, just going, what is going on? Like he just felt so defeated. And I spoke to him and I was like, it's because I don't know what's going on. They don't understand how it happened. And then so nearly 8 years on from that, he's one of the fittest people I know. He's like 100 push-ups in the morning, 100 at night, like he's just flat out. He's actually over in Bali at his house at the moment, just surfing every day.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, like if you stop putting in the inflammatory stuff, lots of processed foods, and, your body wants to heal. Your body knows how to heal without the intervention.
Yeah.
And I just wish that it was more widely known and widely prescribed than it is. Like my partner Ellen's a health coach, and she's hears the most horrible stories every single day from these people that have just been misled with their health, and it's the same thing. There's so much advertising out there, and brainwashing about all the food that people want to sell you, but they're not, they're no good for you.
Yeah. And I think there's, these are businesses, and they're making money from what they're selling, and, the consumer's interest in health isn't always, I think, the number one concern, but, it's at the same time, people like the convenience, and, medication in some ways people can continue living the life that they always have. They might be heavy drinkers, not the best diet, but if I can take these tablets and I can just keep living the life that I'm accustomed to a point where, I think there's a lot of things you can get just out of your food. Like I've read books, and I think one of the books I read was Natural Born Heroes. It's the sequel book to Born to Run by Christopher McDougall, and
Oh yeah, awesome.
he sort of goes from Born to Run about running and free running and that, and then he moves into like whole body health and natural movement and fueling your body in these amazing ways through food, and the Greek, through the Greeks through the centuries, and how valuable good food is, and what you're fueling your body with is such good medicine for you, in
100%.
prevention. as well as curing. Like by the sounds, I mean, that's just such an epic story of your dad's, man. And I have heard similar stories with other guests I'm looking at getting on that are, people in their 80s going to plant-based diets after hearing similar news and having some really astonishing success. It's kind of mind-blowing, but if you're switched onto that, you're kind of not surprised. There's just so much to be gained from a healthy, whole food styled, diet.
Yeah. Yeah, not surprised at all. Um, no one can argue that more vegetables in their diet is a bad thing. So
Yeah,
it's like, when you think about that, like I'm not asking anyone to go vegan. I'm not asking anyone to do anything. But if you look at it the way that you've got a meal in front of you, and ideally everything would be whole foods. So that means it's minimally processed and
yeah,
from the best possible place you can get it from. Ideally organic, but it's pretty hard to do like a whole bowl full for sure.
yeah,
But the point is that every single thing on your plate is just so nutrient dense, and it all acts together to build a healthy gut and keep you at your peak. Um, we're mainly plant based at our house, and we just eat lots of oats and lots of brown rice and veggies and chickpeas and tofu. And the kids are jumping out of their skin. They don't want to be inside, and I guess neither do I ever
yeah,
really. But yeah, yeah, and I think it's such a powerful thing to learn, to know if you're in a situation where your health isn't great, that you don't need to go down the path of medications and treatments in the hospital. Just a really, really quick, easy diet shift will bring you back. And I mean, it can't be more evident that someone with aggressive prostate cancer, overnight, no drinking, no smoking, gone to vegan. So it's plants. So he's healing it with plants, and that's it. And it just
yeah.
works.
That's
Even if you,
it's an incredible story, man. It
yeah,
just still even now, it just blows your mind. And you know, there, obviously there's, you're not going to discount everything in the medical industry. I mean, people are
yeah,
saving
for sure.
lives on the daily throughout. And it's not saying, I mean, you can't ever discredit and say that the medical industry is just not worth. Yeah, it's more the pharmaceutical side and the supplemental side of things, because
Yeah,
you can probably drop your supplements if you're getting a fully balanced, healthy diet, nutrient rich diet. You don't really need the supplements because you're getting everything you're eating from your food.
yeah, and it's that's the best place to get them. Supplements
Yeah,
second, and the main stuff comes from the food,
yeah,
because not only are you eating the food that's good for you, you're chewing it, and it's the acids that your stomach's creating. The whole process of eating really, really good food is so healing for your body, your immune system, everything.
yeah. Keeping inflammation down, which, the whole, nearly every single human condition that we suffer from is due to inflammation.
Yep,
So running on a more alkaline operating system, lowering your sort of acidic levels in your body, you're going to drop that inflammation levels down. And I've even noticed, since I've really cleaned up my eating, probably in the last month, going back to just a full whole food plant based diet. Even for me, like I've been on a plant based diet for about 2 years now, and even just going to just full fruit and veggies, rarely eating anything that has even an ingredients list on it, because it's just,
yep,
exactly what you're eating, or you're making your food out of these raw ingredients. I'm going to the chiropractor and getting adjusted. He's like, man, like you're so less inflamed than even what you have been before. Like
yeah,
it's making such a difference, and I'm feeling it. And even going back to what you mentioned before, is getting to know your body. Like you're so in tune with your body and everything that you do
yep.
put into it.
And especially if you're pushing your body every day, like you're doing these huge runs, like imagine the amount of compression and inflammation going through your whole body and all your joints, like you're not going to be able to do that if you're unhealthy. You'll just fall to bits,
Yeah,
and like consistent use of like my body, I can't do it if I'm if I'm doing the opposite to healing by putting food in my body that is putting my body under pressure to
It's
start with,
counterproductive. Yeah, yeah,
so counterproductive. Yeah.
yeah. No, I totally get you. And I think it's more for longevity as well. It's just you want to get used to a sustainable way to, like, I want to improve. I'm 41 years old and I still think I've got some of my best years ahead of me. I'm
You've got
not
quite a
the
lush
sort of,
beard, that's for sure, as you.
it's short these days. It's a lot shorter than it used to be. But, I want to, there's still so many things I want to achieve personally. I've got
Yep.
goals, endurance wise, physical, athletically, I want to achieve so much more. I've only really started to scratch the surface on what I want to achieve, but it's that balance between putting too much effort into that as well as work and family life. It's like, okay, I've got to just tweak everything to keep it all in line, and then to
Yeah.
make sure that every part is happy and being, ticked off. So
And that
um,
changes day to day. That
oh,
balance
totally.
changes day to
Yeah.
day. And then you
Yeah.
get to know your body better. And it's like what worked for you last week possibly and probably won't be exactly right for this week, And
Yeah.
like the sharper you are with the healthy, like the healthier you are, the sharper your brain is. It's like you can feel everything so much better. You know how to get back into rhythm. Like there's so many positives to eating really, really well, like whether you eat a little bit of meat or not, you know, the the healthier the bowl is in front of you, the better you're going to perform. There's no two ways about it, you
Yeah.
know.
And it's a whole, like, we always talk about, it's a whole aspect. There's not one magical thing that you can do that is going to improve. I mean, if it's one thing that you are doing and it's improving your life, that's great. But
Yep.
there's so many more other things you can add to really lift that level of well-being. Exercise, it's really getting overlooked at the moment while people are focusing on, especially through this pandemic, with political agendas of how to deal with the pandemic. I feel like one thing that isn't being mentioned enough is, if you want to combat this thing, you can look after yourself. Like,
Just
just
be as
look
healthy
after
as you
yourself more.
possibly can.
That's the first thing that you can do, is take your own health on board.
Yep.
Improve your dietary habits, move more, get your body as fit and as healthy, as prepared as possible. If anything does happen, that's the first thing you can do, and then add all these other things onto it to be extra
Yeah,
prepared.
exactly. And get some sunshine, like
Totally.
you need to be, especially now more than ever, you need to be as healthy as you possibly can. You don't know what's
Yeah.
around the corner, and
Yeah.
and 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 moving and eating well is it the, there's no way in the world that your brain doesn't, your mindset just benefits so much from that, and that it's like a byproduct. You're
Yeah.
moving well, you're eating well. It's like you're just you're doing the best thing you can for yourself, for sure.
Yeah. And when your mind's good, your confidence is up, and you feel a lot more optimistic about what's coming next. You can take on challenges with more confidence, just because you're moving forward. You're on the up. You're stepping up. So
Yep,
anything
for
that sort of
sure.
comes when you're on that roll just seems like it's less of a challenge, or it's you're more equipped to deal with whatever's coming. So
Yeah, you're in a
um,
better frame of mind. You can see it a little bit clearly, a little bit more
yeah,
clear.
definitely, bro. That's for sure.
Frothing.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, well, we've nailed it. I mean, I'm totally happy with where we've been in this app. I mean, we tried to record last night, didn't work out 100% in the way we wanted to and the way I wanted to, for sure. But I think it's gone for the better, because I think this episode has just been even better again. So thanks a lot for your time, man. I mean, just, we've been chatting for about an hour, and we've been navigating and to and froing for a week or so to get this one down. So just so appreciative of your time and your family for letting me have you to chat and getting prepared for this one, bro. Like, thank you so much.
Mate, thanks so much for having me. It's been an honor. I'm just so stoked that so many amazing people come on your podcast, and every time I listen to one, like you get a little thing from each one, and you're like, and it sticks with you, and then you kind of like put that into your daily practice, I guess, and it's just, yeah, that's the beauty of it, mate. Keep
Yeah.
inspiring people. It's so good.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's great. It's a journey and a whole new avenue I'm going down that I'm just loving, and it's come from just being inspired, and that the creative outlet is. I'm just this is. It's like you going down with your surf sort of filming. It's exactly what you want to be doing, and this is definitely taking me where I want to go. So super
It's so
grateful to be
good.
doing it and to have so many amazing guests to share their stories and great values for other people to get inspiration out of is incredible, man. So yeah, thanks
Thanks,
again,
brother.
man. It's epic. Looking forward to catching up when we come down in a couple of months. And
Oh, the new
yeah, hanging
baby.
out. Yeah, we got the one more on the way. So yeah, it's super exciting and super kind of like terrifying at the same time. But we're there.
Yeah.
We're super stoked. Looking forward to it. But yeah, looking forward to catching up then. But I'm going to let you go. We're going to wrap this one up and let you get back to your family, man. Thanks again.
Thanks, legend. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. So just before we do finally go, I just got if anyone wants to check out what you're about and what you're doing, your social levels, if anyone wants to sort of see what you're doing and what your work is all about, to check you out.
My wedding films are David Ebbott Films on Instagram, and my ocean stuff at the moment is
Yeah.
davidebbottfilms.ca.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, checking them
And
out,
Instagram's
and
the best place for that. Yeah. If you don't know,
yeah, for sure.
if you can't find it, guys, I'll share the links to when I post social pages when the episode comes out, and I'll tag you in it so people can find you there and check it out. It's amazing work that Dave's doing. Super inspired work. I think you can see it when you see the footage and how you match the footage with music and sounds, and that whole experience is it's a credit to you, man. And like considering you're just starting off going down this avenue, mate, it's epic already. I just can't wait to see what you got around the corner.
Thanks, dude. And if anyone wants to get in touch with me through those platforms, I'm super happy to chat. Like I just want to spread the froth and hopefully meet some new crew.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Putting it out there.
Sweet, mate.
All right, thanks, man. We're going to leave it there. But yeah, thanks again. Chat soon. Yeah, look forward to catching up shortly. Yeah.
You.
All right. What did you think of that one? Super inspiring, high energy, amazing episode. Just a stellar ep with, so much creative, inspirational drive coming from Dave. He's just such an infectious guy to be around, not only in the aspect of what he does for a job and career-wise, but just his drive for life and for being in the moment. I mean, we catch up whenever we can, whenever we're sort of traveling up to where each other live, and we're always talking about whether it's running or keeping fit. And a lot of Dave's workouts he does are like plyometrics and gymnast workouts for like all-round general mobility workouts and all that kind of thing, and just seeing how that flows into now what he does, how you can incorporate that into being better at your job. It's just such a perfect blend for him, and super inspired by his work. It's just so good to see someone doing what they love for a living and being happy that it doesn't have to, you don't have to be chasing hundreds of thousands of dollars to be content and happy, and the job in itself and doing what you love is enough. And then that what that gives to you then flows on to what you can then give to your family as you are being 100% for yourself, being fully happy with who you are and where you are in life, and then flowing into being more present for your kids, for your wife, for your family and your friends. Just so happy to see that all turning out for him. So, look, I hope there were some good pluses in there for you guys as well. There was just so many to cover. A really cool episode, and just happy to have got that one out there for you. On the other side, just seeing how you guys think. What do you think of the episode change? Do you like going to episode numbers rather than seasons and episodes? Let me know. For me, it's good. Because now I can keep track of, okay, this is episode 20. Let's roll in. Let's get to episode 50 and let's just keep this rolling. The momentum's really building, and I'm super happy with the guests I've had so far and been in touch with other guests coming on the show. I just can't wait to share with you the great information that's going to be coming. So stay tuned. Great to have you all on board again, and I really can't wait till we speak again next time. But until then, I'll see you later.